welcome to Nacht Waffen, Pilot with Penny Bradley, and today's guest is Hendricks. And I may screw up his name from time to time because I know his Earth name. um, Welcome to the show, Hendricks, and why don't you introduce yourself to our listening audience?
Hi everyone, my name is off-world name is Hendricks, Earth name is Joel, star system name is Yakarta. I came incarnated here in the 1870s. This is my third incarnation. I currently serve in the Dark Fleet for the German groups and for the Dracos off-world and also the Vampirian groups. I'm active duty. I'm also a recruit, plus I also do train new recruits.
Okay, yeah. For the audience, I also served with the Germans in space, and I did not serve exactly with the Draco, but I did a lot of translating. I guess that's the best way to say it when your boss can't be around a Draco without dropping dead. So you have the connection, you talk to the boss, you talk to the Draco, and then you translate it for your boss. That I did a lot of that. So, so what do you want to talk about first?
I was going to also say the German groups use me as a conduit for reptilians or Dracos to talk through me. So they will take me on some mission, and there will be a presence from a higher dimension, like a fourth dimension, and it will just, this presence just goes in me, and I have no control of my body, and I'm just like a person watching in my body, like, and with no control of anything. And then my voice starts speaking draconian or reptilian languages, and I have no idea what he's trying to say, and it's so overpowering, and it's like such an intense rush and such a high. And you have this her name was Shiva, her name was, and she was speaking to my German officer through me. And when she left my body, I was just like totally, I was like kind of scared, because like I don't want to do that again, because I was the most helpless thing I ever felt in my life.
I tend to not be a medium like that. They tend to speak with me with the full intimacy telepathy, and I have to figure out what the boss needs out of that mass. So at least I'm not channeling Drac. Drac is real difficult for human mouths.
Extremely difficult, yeah. But yeah, so we should talk about like the missions I've been on lately. December 2nd, I was off world, and we were in our super soldier bodies, and we brought spares with us. So spares are like spare clone bodies. In case our bodies killed in battle, we can transfer consciousness into a new body and
I
then
got a
get back on the
question about
battlefield.
that.
So
I got a question
go
about
ahead.
that. So I'm gonna interrupt. You know I do this. And my question is, when I'm in a clone body and that body is killed, my consciousness goes all the way back to this body, my natural body, and has to be retrieved. You don't have that?
So what they call that programming is called the home address. So currently, this is my home address. Yours is your home address. But
Mhm.
when I'm off world, they give us special training where if we're killed in battle, or some of the missions we're thrown into are complete suicide missions. There's no escape plan at all. It's just get killed and your conscious floats out of your body. You can go into the teardrop ships that are cloaked up in the sky, enter the ship, you become one with the ship, and the ship integrates you back into a new clone, and you fight until your mission's over. Then they throw you back in this body. Or sometimes I've been known where I get killed in battle and I throw myself back into the home address, which is here, but then they
Mm.
come back in my room and rip me back out and then throw me back up there. So
Yeah, that's pretty disturbing. I've had that happen a couple of times while I was awake. So,
I'm gonna talk about the good thing though. Like they're pretty good. Like they will put nanotech in me, or like my memories are completely blocked out, so I have no memory or little to no memory. Like so when I first get back in this body, I have full memory. It's like
mhm.
right there, and then you can slowly feel it dissipating. So I'm talking in my notepad as fast as I can, writing everything down, and then like after an hour or two after I have a shower and come back out, it's completely wiped, and I'm just like, oh, what was I doing today? Like, what's going? And then I go on and do my earth stuff. And but if I read the notes and listen to it, it triggers my memory recall, and I can remember the whole thing again. So that's how I
Cool.
tricked myself into remembering and getting rid of the memory blocks. But I have remembered a lot of missions where they were so bad, being ripped apart by spiders or vampires, and Dracos or reptilians or greys. And I'm glad that I have the memory blocks to block out those memories because I don't want to remember that stuff. What happens to me? So
Yeah, I was talking with a friend in the group that I have now about the past life regressions that what tends to be the thing you remember is how you died. That's what is like in your face first thing, and it's there was more to that incarnation or
mhm.
alters existence than just how they died. But it takes so much to overcome that to get to the other stuff.
Oh yeah, I remember my past life incarnation. I was living in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I graduated in the Centennial Officer Training School for off-world missions for super soldiers, and I got actually killed my grad class graduation day, and
Oh
I got
no.
shot in the up here, and this was my original body, and I remember my wife and kid were there, and she was holding me because she ran up on stage, and I said to her, I remember everything like it was yesterday. Um, Part of the journey is the end, so that's what they tell me anyways, and I will always love you in this life and the next. And then I remember dying and then incarnated back in this. It's like I died in a parallel timeline because it was the same timeline, same, like it was like 2010, or like technology down here,
Mhm.
and I incarnated into a parallel reality to this one in Canada, and now I'm living the life that I should have had in my original incarnation. So it's really hard to explain. And now I have the same girlfriend we met again. We're getting married because we were married in our past life. Her name was the exact same name in our past lives. We remember each other from our past lives, and
That's
and I
cool.
serve in the military off world instead of service military. So
Yeah, my most recent past life, I was a German Jewish scientist, and I died of pneumonia. And so in this life, I had this horrible phobia about anything that would interfere with breathing. Uh, when I finally figured out that was the problem, then that phobia went away.
yeah, no, I got as I'm getting older, this body's now turning 34. I've noticed my eyes going. I'm wearing glasses now. I've had 20/20 vision my entire life. My body's breaking down on, like, I'm just aging really fast. I wake up every day looking older and older and older. So obviously that's the age regression technology kicking.
Yeah.
But whatever, I'm not too worried about getting old because this body's just one body of many I have. So when this body goes, I'll just go into another body. So
I wish I could be that blasé about it. I have
you have to be. That's the only way you're gonna get through it.
this thing the Oberkommando has told me. Well, if we find out that you've died, we're just going to redial and come get you, and we're going to regenerate you until you can't be regenerated anymore, and then we'll start putting you in clones. And that was the most depressing thought. I was like, well, what's the use if I'm not allowed to die?
They like to have control though, right? Like me, I've tried to leave this world a few times, and every time I was about to do it, I got ripped out of my body, not by the dark fleet or anyone, but by my life guides and spiritual guides, and they would sit me down like clear as day in this other dimension and just talk to me in my head and be like, hey, if if you kill yourself in this lifetime, you're gonna have to reincarnate and do it all over again, because you are here on a signed contract and you are here for volunteer mission work because you're a star seed, and that you're supposed to be here for 91 years, which is a 91-year tour. Do you want to restart it and start all over again, go through the painful school processing, brainwash, all that stuff, or do you
Oh,
want to
oh,
start, I know, or do you want to keep
oh,
going in this lifetime because you
oh,
only have 58 years left to go? And I'm like, oh
oh,
fuck, you
oh,
make it good. I don't want to go back to school. I'm gonna be thrown back into brainwashing shit. I
oh,
can't do it.
that's hell on earth.
Oh, for a star seed, it's absolutely the most dumbing down thing I was been involved with. It was School was so hard for me because I was just not interested. This is dumb. It's a waste of time. You're teaching me brainwash tactics. Nothing I'm going to learn from you is ever I'm going to use in life. And history is just a bunch of lies. So I was always a rebellious kid in school.
Well, last September, so that for people watching this in the future, September 2020, I had a near-death experience, and I ended up in what the ancients called Elysium. And a couple of my guardian protectors uh, showed up and literally dragged me back into my body and said, "You are not to do this again, period." I'm like, "What? I didn't do anything. I just died."
Mm,
And it's talking about that to humans. I normally call them normals, but you use the term humans for them. Describing that to a human, it hurts when you die, and it hurts when they drag you back. It's not like this is a painless experience. So and they don't fix what's wrong with the body when they bring you back. They just dump you back in it, expect you to
mm.
keep going. So,
Could you imagine if humans found out that that's the truth of life, that your body is just a vessel, and your soul is literally a soul that can be transferred into anything? It could be a dog, cow, insect, draconian, reptilian, anything. Like every body is a vessel for your soul, and you can have so many incarnations in different types of forms. It's one of the most beautiful things of life, and I just wish people would not get so upset about when a loved one dies. I'm like, they're not dead, man. Death is actually a man-made thing. It's just a control thing to make you fearful and
well,
obedient, and that when you die, your soul just goes to the next plane of existence. Then it keeps going and it never dies.
people have been brainwashed by religion. The old world order was control of the population through religion, and you can see the effects of that on the population. The new world order that they're trying to install is control of the population through government, and that's not going to be any better.
No, there's a lot of
So
rebellion, a lot of revolutionary people in the states right now. I think the United States will have a revolution the next year here or so.
I think that's the plan. I'm not sure it's a good thing,
Well,
but we can't.
they gotta get rid of the deep state, like the Joe Biden side. Joe Biden can't get into office. If he does, he's just another George Bush. So
Well, yeah, I agree that he's just another George Bush, but I don't see any legal way to get him out at this point. And
well,
I I
they're
was I
exposing.
was I was surprised whenever that it was announced that they um, stopped his transition team and that they no longer have access, and they never did have federal funding. And I'm wondering what legal maneuvering they're using to justify this.
Let's give humans some full disclosure there and listen to this and watch this. Trump right now is literally exposing how corrupt and how deep the deep state is in the United States government. Like he's been denied so many courts. Texas finally gave him permission in the court case, but he's literally exposed all these judges that are paid off. Like how bad it is in the United States government. It's so deep that you can watch the Fox News, all of his updates. There are thousands and hundreds of thousands of people marching the streets today for Trump, because they know that he's fighting to get rid of the deep state. When you watch Joe Biden talk, you're just like, if that guy's president, like I lose all respect for the United States, right? Like the
Well,
world is actually backing Trump on this. So.
oh,
And also, he's also exposing how corrupt the media is. And CNN and the top news podcasts don't post any of this stuff. They just post how great Joe Biden is, and they don't post anything of the
oh,
corruption.
The Intercept, which was one of the sites that I had respect for up until this last year. The Intercept actually fired their founder for publishing a article talking about things that Biden was doing wrong. No criticism is allowed, and we're going down a road that we're going to get in trouble when this is posted on social media.
Oh, I like, and the one thing I'm trying to tell humans, don't be scared of the media. Don't be scared of them. They're making themselves look so much worse. Like even on Facebook or YouTube, they ripping off channels, censoring so much stuff. If because you have free will speech of your own opinion, and they're like you try to post something about the election results, a sign pops up. Oh, that's not the actual truth. The real truth of election results is Joe Biden's president, and just like what you try to brainwash. It's crazy. So if you really look at it, the world elites own Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of the high-end news channels to program it. Plus, they own all the radio shows too. It's all like look at those people dying of the COVID vaccines as of late. All
they
the
don't
allergy
own
attacks.
all the radio shows because they don't own this one.
No,
But
no, I'm just saying. I'm just saying
I
the
have
mainstream media.
I have this thing in the back of my mind about April 2019 when Facebook permabanned me, and it was the day before they permabanned Alex Jones, that they thought I was more dangerous than he was.
I can't believe they ever banned Alex Jones. And then when Alex Jones did that podcast with Joe Rogan, it was so good.
It was.
It was so good. Then it got deleted.
Of course it got deleted. It doesn't go
Yeah,
into
because
general.
they're speaking truth. They're trying to censor truth. You are not allowed to speak truth. You have to be a little animal, and you got to go get your vaccine shot, die of an allergy attack, and look at that nurse that was recorded getting the shot done. She fainted and died 2 days later.
Oh God. She
Like
died?
yeah, died 2 days later, and then they're all my buddies who are from the UK, and they're telling us that the UK there's so many people getting sick from the vaccines and being rushed to hospital because they're getting anaphylactic shock.
Uh, I think I know there was a country, I think it was Australia, that they were testing the people who had gotten the shot, and a high number of them were testing positive for HIV.
Yeah, so and then
So
also apparently there's a new virus coming out.
they stopped that particular vaccine. I don't know which one it was. But yeah, there's you can cuss on my channel. There's a lot of shit being injected into people, and to me it's buyer beware. It's your body. You have control over what you put in it. And if you let some untested drug be used on you, you have to deal with that you're a guinea pig and could die from the shit.
Yeah, you have a better chance surviving COVID without a COVID shot just by eating healthy and having an active lifestyle. And it's weird up here in Canada right now. They banned you can't play sports, you can't go to the gym, you can't do yoga classes, nothing. But you can go to a restaurant and eat a cheeseburger and have pop. Right? It's
Yeah.
mental, actually mental, and we're so close to a worldwide revolution, and they're not posting anything on the news. Is so filtered right now. They're not posting any of the allergy attacks in UK from the vaccine shots. They're not posting any of the deaths from the vaccine shots, and Canada told us, our prime minister told us, we're investigating all the vaccine shots and see the symptoms. There's no very serious symptoms, and then it's just like you're not posting the truth.
Like people dropping dead is not a serious symptom.
They will never post the truth. They will never do it because they don't want to look like the idiots. How do you have a vaccine after 1 year and you don't have a vaccine for the flu or cold after 70 years? That makes
Yeah.
absolutely no sense. Who the fuck would take that? And then people, there's some actual people, and I'm gonna be really rude, is we call them the sleep, the sheeple. The sheeple are going to fuck this world into a coma because they're the ones that are in power and they're the ones that are so easily manipulated, mind controlled. And how dare they speak their mind or their truth? And then the people that are awake, we're just sitting here like, why are listeners doing this to us? Like, why aren't they, standing up for what's for right? Then you come to the conclusion they're just all corrupt. They're all paid off. They're all losers. There's an agenda here.
There's definitely an agenda, and I've said all along that it was the installation of New World Order under cover of COVID.
Mm.
That's what I've said all along, is it's a mass power grab. They're going to be taking over everything. If nothing is done to stop it, we will be chipped, we will be vaccinated, we will be packed into tin can cities, and the rest of the environment will be left to go wild, and it will all belong to the ultra rich, and the rest of us will be slaves.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
is the game plan. It will be basically China for everybody.
Well, I can elaborate on that. Like me being a draconian and being part of the draconian empire. If humans, if a species knows it's being controlled and manipulated and does nothing about it and still goes to work every day, pays their taxes, and just lets it happen, they deserve to be controlled and put into slavery. You have a free will
That is
choice to stand up for yourself and change it. If you're not going to, then they won. And there's no bitching or crying. You could have literally got up and blow up a government building, take them all down, wipe out the FDA and just stop paying taxes, stop doing going to work. You could all do it, but you're also scared of losing. What are you scared of losing? You're going to lose your future if you don't do anything.
exactly,
What are our
and
children going to think of us?
that is definitely the Draco attitude. That if you tolerate your rights being abused, then you deserve it.
Oh, 100%.
And they have a word for people like that, Raka.
It's just logical sense, right? It's just like if you're being abused in a relationship and you do nothing to stand up for yourself, and you're still there, you deserve to be abused.
Yeah, I can understand that. I
Yeah.
was in a situation where I was abused, and it took me a while to overcome my programming to leave. But yeah, I did leave.
Yeah, no, you finally broke out of your control system, right? And that people are just so scared.
Yeah, I finally broke out of the control system and I left. I took my boys and left. And second divorce, I took my boys and left. And you have you have to have enough self-respect to say no more. You've crossed the line of what I will tolerate. No more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I go to up here in Canada. There's like anti-mask protests and marches, and I go and I post it on my Instagram. And people, there's a lot of positive feedback more than there's negative. But there's the internet trolls out there. How dare you not want to wear a mask? How dare you not want to take a vaccine? What about the old people? If you look at the Canadian deaths in Canada, I think it's like 750 deaths. 92% of those deaths are all really old people in old age homes that have prior conditions of health risks. Like they're like in their 80s and they have lung problems from smoking their entire life and they get COVID and they die. That's not a COVID death. That's called a COVID related death. And that's all we have in Canada. So why are we all shutting things down? And finally, I'm seeing on our news channel here, it's called 980 news channel, people call in and give their opinion about COVID. There's actually people like fired up, like they're like, fuck this. I don't even know one person that got COVID. Like, who cares? Like, we can't, the nature is about natural selection. The strong survive, the weak don't. We can't stop our way of living because, a bunch of seniors are dying. Like, they're going to die in the next 5-10 years anyways. So that's just logical thinking to push our, get our mindsets out of this fear of this control matrix.
Well, I'm 65 and my doctor has this notion that if I catch COVID, that I'm going to die. And he thinks I have to wear a mask. And I basically don't go very many places. When I go to his office, I wear a mask because he's scared shitless.
Mm.
The rest of the time I don't. um, it's like I have asthma, I have apnea, I have more trouble breathing in the mask than I do in anything else. And so when I go into the store, I say I have asthma, I'm exempt from the governor's decree.
Hmm.
And if they read through the list, yes, I'm exempt. And that's where I go is the grocery store and a couple
Do
of
you,
times.
you live in the States, correct? So you go to the
I
grocery
live in
store with,
California.
yeah. So
I
do you go to the grocery store without a mask on, and do you get trouble from people?
I get I get more people telling me right on than I do, where's your mask?
Oh, that see that's a good feedback, and I'm very, that gives me hope with mankind, and you know, us being star seeds and your mystery origin, you
my
know,
my
we
mystery origin, yes.
we all came here. There's so many star seeds that I have met here, and for people that are listening, what a star seed is mean our soul or consciousness is from another dimension, another world, and we came here incarnated into this fucking boring ass third dimensional body, and we decided to stay here for many incarnations to help raise your consciousness and help with the rebellion of waking you up. And I have so many star seeds here that are local that call me because they see my YouTube channel, which is Starseed Talk on YouTube. It's really good. I interview starseeds all the world. So, anyways, these starseeds ask me because they're just waking up. They're so empathic. They're feeling all the negativity from this COVID, all the negative from everyone else, and it's making them want to kill themselves. And they came out of
Oh yeah.
here as a volunteer, free will, and for love and to help. And they left their families and friends and soul families from other dimensions to come here to help you, to wake you up. And I find it so insulting when we try to teach a human and be like, hey, this is not your control matrix. We'll unplug you, and this is what your world really is. You're controlled by aliens, and they're like, aliens? What the fuck's an alien? Just like, holy shit, we have a lot of work to do. And then
Yeah,
but there's a lot of receptive ones too. There are a lot of people
there
waking
are
up, and
more
they're
there are
opening
more
up. So
receptive ones. I I was sent here to do a couple of things. The first thing was to raise the vibration enough that y'all could come.
mhm.
Because when I showed up, they were beating children that were non-compliant. They There were times I was beaten badly enough that I could barely walk. And this was in the 1950s. These oh, what are they? The crystal kids, they would never have survived that. So that was number one, what I was supposed to do. But my main mission for this whole thing was to make sure both species of humans on this planet survive the time coming. We are coming out of the Kali Yuga. And at the end of the Kali Yuga, we enter into a part of space that has a lot of dirt and rocks. And the dirt and rocks in the space trigger solar flares. So you get rocks hit the planet, which if it's a big enough rock, it can cause a lot of damage all by itself. You have rocks hitting the sun, they cause splash flares. Those are not fun when they hit. And so you have the danger zone. And you get people who say, oh, we're going to ascend above that. And then you have other people who are saying, oh, it's gloom and doom. And I'm supposed to be teaching these people how to survive this so that there'll be some of both species still here afterwards to start the golden age. That's my job.
Yeah, I think we're on a timeline split. Like I hear this a lot of posts saying, "Oh, we're moving to 5D." I'm like, "We are?" I'm like, "Have you done any spiritual ascension? Have you shed your ego? Have you got rid of negativity? Have you gone to more plant-based diets? Have you stopped causing negativity in the world? Have you done any of those things and practiced those for years on end?" They're like, no. I'm like, well, why do you think we're going to 5D then? Like there are certain people that will go to 5D, and what's going to happen is like the world as a whole with everyone, and this is what's going to happen. The more negative people are going to detach and stay in the third dimension, and the more positive people are going to go to the fifth dimension, right? Because they actually practice what they preach. And the third dimensional, money hungry, drug addicted people are just so negative that they can't ascend. This world is a electromagnetic universe, and to ascend, it just look as a battery. You need to be positive to rise, and you want to be negative, you'll sink. So a lot of people have it very confused, but also this is a mass consciousness evolution, not an individual evolution. So
Well,
we're all gonna go, or we're
I'm well
not.
aware of the timeline splits, and I'm supposed to be funneling people into a specific one. But when I talk about that, I get a lot of really harsh feedback, especially from people who think they're going into 5D.
It's like people that want to get fit and they don't work out. It's like you need to do the work to get there. It's also a
Yeah.
mental fitness. Like me, I'm draconian. I work out all the time and I'm very fit. I play hockey 5 days a week. But mentally, my draconian side really screws me up sometimes. And sometimes I'm going to say this for the first time ever, but I really don't mean it. Sometimes I mean it. Sometimes I hate being draconian because my mind can go so dark and so negative and so aggressive. I think it's part of my SSP training that I go, the thoughts that I think are so vicious and so cruel towards humans that I shouldn't be here. But my light side comes in and corrects me, and I don't know whenever act what I think, but I definitely do off world. Um, but yeah, so
The,
I also have to work on my thought process, because whatever you output, or whatever you input is what you output, and that's what the universe attracts to you. So I need to work on that, because right now I've been super negative this last month, and I've been having heart problems. My heart rises too fast because I'm so negative and giving myself such anxiety over practically nothing, because I'm overthinking things and being too negative, and I need to also work on myself instead of helping people.
yeah, I've been given a TV show, but I'm not allowed to cuss on it. And so I've been scripting it, and I am so stressed out from scripting it and then talking to a camera without another person there.
Mhm.
The, I'm an introvert. This whole process of talking that's not with someone just drives me crazy. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but my psoriasis on my hand is just really itching really bad. It's not yet to the bleeding stage; it's to the white and flaky stage. And so yeah, I'm having to go back and do all the Zen meditation stuff all over again just to get rid of the psoriasis.
Mhm.
And it's been a little bit of a challenge, but yeah. So my show is on Fringe TV on Roku.
What's it called?
Nacht Waffen pilot.
Oh, nice.
Um, and
Do you miss, I want to ask you a personal question. Do you miss serving in the SSP?
I'm still serving in the SSP. Didn't you know that?
Oh, no, I thought you were retired.
They don't they don't let navigators retire. They take you, they put you back to 25 years old, and they keep you there the whole time you're gone.
Yeah,
I
I used to be going away on missions probably 4 times a month. Now it's just down to 1 time a month. I go through really weird waves where sometimes they won't even use me for 6 months, and I get super depressed. I'm like, please take me off world. I fucking hate it down here. And then they'll take me off world. That's also a disciplinary thing. That's how they usually discipline me, because I'm also a sixth dimensional consciousness. So they find it very hard to put me into a body and discipline me physically, because I can just throw myself out of that body back into this body. Then they have to come down here, rip me back out, throw me back up there. And it's very time consuming for them, because they know I mastered it. So what they'll do is there's other tactics. They'll bore you to death. Like I get, if I need to be off world and do mission works and fight with my, brothers and sisters up there. And plus I have a girlfriend up there, and her unit number is 2202. And, I miss them hanging up there. And, there's
Mm.
nothing more exciting than traveling in your teams of 5 in the Draco teardrop ships and traveling through portals, opening it with your mind, like being one with a ship, and you're flying a ship with a drone and you're shooting down pilots. Like it's it's so cool. And then you can get killed and you feel nothing, because they in their bodies they have no emotions, no feelings, nothing. So you get shot, you just black out and you wake up in a new body, and it's just like, hey, what's up? I'm back. And then you go, like I did an interview with Doug Cooper. Do you know him?
No.
So he was a first generation super soldier, and how they were trained when the programs first came out is they didn't have the transfer of consciousness technology quite mastered yet. So if you were a super soldier and you got killed in battle, if you couldn't be regenerated, that was it. You're done.
Yeah,
But but
that's
I
how it was for me and Kruger.
Yeah, so the new super soldiers is you actually go in ships with multiple clones, and like I said, if you die, your consciousness goes right back to ship. Ship
Well,
integrates you back, and
that's
you're back out again.
that's why I was wanting to ask you about the technology when you first brought that up, is because I was one of those. My original service was in this body. I
Hmm.
wasn't even in a clone. I was in this body. They did the modifications on me, and when they sent me back, they put me through regen and took them all out.
Yeah, I have a
So
weird
that
thing. I don't know
that
if you remember.
was that was the original tech. So there's been a lot of development over 60 years.
Oh, for
So
sure, yeah,
now
and
the ones that I have out in space right now are Nacht Waffen. Well, actually, Das Bundes, the Germans. They got into trouble with the Galactic Authority over their use of cyborgs. And there was a colony that had a factory for cyborgs on it. And the Guardians told them to shut down the factory. And they basically said, F you. And so the Guardians gave them a time limit. They didn't comply, and the Guardians destroyed the planet. So we are doing rescue missions to get the humans off that planet from back in time before the planet was destroyed. And
oh,
we didn't have enough ships to do it. So, because all of those I'm back from, but they're still out there. So I know we were only able to get half the people before we reached the point we couldn't go back in time anymore,
hmm,
because we didn't have enough ships. And these were Nacht Waffen ships, these were Draco ships, these were Kruger ships. So it was three sets of ships, and we did not have enough ships to bring all the people out before we reached the point where you can't go back there anymore.
hmm,
And what my job was navigator for the Armada. And I wasn't just taking one ship into hyperspace and bringing them out. I was taking the entire Armada together and traveling back to this place and time, and getting as many people as we could pack into these ships, and then bringing them to the solar system. So it's 90 trips of 60 years each to basically shuttle back and forth between the solar system and this planet. And I believe it's in the Orion spur, but it's inside the Draco Empire. And
yeah,
the Guardians were quite clear about it. And in fact, Oberkommando, translation, High Command, snagged me, Earth Body, Earth Altar, Penny, because they know I have another altar that works with the Galactic Authority. And so they pulled me into a meeting and said, okay, what do they want? Why are we in violation? What can we do? And they shifted me between altars so that they could actually talk to the altar that works with the Galactic Authority. You know how the CIA sells altars and shit to everybody?
Yeah, I can elaborate on that. So sometimes I will, if I'm not serving off world, I'll just astral project and go visit my altars. So I visited an altar where this is the second time I seen him. So he looks exactly like me, but he's like looks like the Hulk. Like he's so genetically roided out, modified, same face as me, just really leaned out and like probably like 1,000 pounds, 8 feet tall, and his eyes are like bloodshot and running with tears. Like he's just
Mm.
so irritated, so angry all the fucking time. And they always have him stored in like an old abandoned warehouse looking, and there's like he's destroyed all the furniture, and then there's cages and cages of like looks like a prison of either zombies or vampires in these hundreds of them in there, and he's there patrolling it, and he's just
Mm.
there by himself, and I go astral project and I go right up to his face and I kiss him on the forehead and I like energetically touch him with like an energy hand on his face to calm him down. I'm like, hey, it's me, it's you, like calm down, I'm here for you, how can we get you out of here? And he calms down and he's like the Hulk when he calms down, just gets like nicer and he feels good, and I'm one with him. And then we escape that or the storage place. And then before we escaped, we looked at the cages of vampires and zombies, and like these are real technologies. And
Mm-hmm.
humans have to understand that the zombie and vampires come from truth. Like there is a zombie virus and a vampire virus that does exist off world, and they release it on other human worlds to destroy them. It's just a military tactic. That's all it is. And so, anyways, I get my altar out, and we don't even get like 100 feet from the freaking compound. He's killed. His head blows off. Like he's
Mm.
done. So I'm just like, whatever. At least he's out
Yeah,
of his misery. And
they insert chips into our heads in some of these factions where that if you rebel in any way that your head will explode.
yeah. So, anyways, I go back into my body, and then weeks goes by. Another altar contacts me psychically, and he rips me out of my body, and he's somewhere in the United States, and he escaped from an underground base, and he looks
Wow.
exactly like me, but his skin is he's a clone, so his skin is clone skins. They're super white and super perfect, like they're like freshly grown skins, I
Well,
call them.
that's because they are.
Yeah, so he escaped and he had a full head of hair, but same face, same blue eyes, everything. And he goes into this building and he contacts me and he rips me out, and I'm standing there in a conscious form, which is a blue energy ball, like my soul form, and he's a part of me. And he's telepathically talking to me in his head. He doesn't speak, he just talks in his head, and he's talking to me, and he's like super scared because they're hunting him. They're like literally hunting him. They're like sending troops after him. He's killing all these, they're called Earth troopers versus a super soldier is a lot different. So super soldier is obviously
Okay.
going to win
Yeah.
90% of the battles, but they're relentless. I tried to help them get out, and they would just send drone attacks. They eventually kill them because they do not give up. When a clone escapes,
Yeah.
they will hunt him down, spend whatever money it takes to kill this clone. So he's dead.
Yeah. They
I'm
don't.
like,
They
oh,
don't intend for those folks to get out.
yeah, no. If they escape on surface, it's like a rule they have to hunt them down and kill them.
I'm
So
surprised they don't have chips in their heads too.
yeah, I don't know. This one looked a lot different. It was not as aggressive as the last one. The last one looked like it ate vampires for a living, and this one was more like an infiltration unit where it was like a normal looking human, but it was like a super soldier. It was like really too clean looking for a human. So
Mm. So yeah. Um,
mm,
I have times when I piggyback my alters that are on duty, where that I'm there but I'm not them, and
Yeah, I've been
I
there. Yeah.
can I can see and experience everything that they're going through, but physically I'm not physically there because I'm and I can't affect what they're doing, because when I could affect what they were doing, I blew up a factory on Mars. So it was a bit interesting that I blew up the factory and it showed up on the satellite feed from Mars. But yeah,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
James Rink was on that particular mission, and his altar there chewed me out after we were regenerated.
Yeah, I saw me and James Rink did a past life regression, and I saw him in the Egyptian days. He was actually a pharaoh in a past life.
Hmm, that's interesting. I didn't know about that one.
Yeah,
Um,
he's really good at he will guide me and he'll record the whole thing. And like we go to this, I have some really good astral projection like abilities, so we can go to some really cool places.
well,
Like
he did one. He did one on me, but he wanted an artist to draw him, so it was a totally different thing, and I got stuck in one of the red zones. My programming was in the way, so I ended up in not alpha, omega programming, and had to back out from that, and I had a really hard time with that. So he did back me out. I didn't kill myself, but it took about a year and a half to finally get clear of it.
mhm,
So there's a man on Facebook, Gregory Kovacs. Um, he did regression on me after the Anunnaki abducted me, and he helped me deal with that one. I had serious issues. I mean, you get picked up by the gods and they tell you you're an abomination and put you in a machine and start peeling your altars off to destroy them so you can't reincarnate. Yeah.
mhm.
And then you get rescued by the Germans. And then you have to sit there and go, if the gods want to kill me and the Germans want to save me, what does that say about how I've been viewing the world?
Well, the a lot of super soldiers have a lot of hate towards their programming and being taken off world and changing to super soldiers, and I fucking love it. Like I'm all about chaos, and I'm draconian though, so I get bored with stability. So I like going off world and doing all the mission works, and I love it. If people actually, I actually one of my friends who's a Draco Phoenix, he wanted to join the SSP, so I showed him how to do it, and he actually is serving currently now. His memories are full blown, and he's telling me all of his missions he's doing off world. He is doing training programs right now in the same training programs we have as the virtual reality training program. So your consciousness is connected to this freaking computer, and you can literally not tell the difference between reality and this virtual reality. It's so realistic.
They didn't
And
have that when I was being trained.
yeah, so they do it with us. So they put us in these pods. Our consciousness goes into the virtual reality. It's the exact same thing. If everything feels the same, smell, touch, everything, and you're training how to get into a ship, how to transfer your consciousness, how to die properly, how to not freak out, take pain away. Spiders that are big as cars running at you, and you got to rip them apart before they rip you apart. How to kill them the fastest way, and every time you die, it just the program restarts the beginning, and then you have to do it all over again. But you have full memory of what happened, so you can fix it the next time.
Wow, that would seriously be useful. In my day, they put us through these. You had to actually kill other people, and they had they had the German regen tanks, so they would kill us and then bring us back with full memory, and so where yours is virtual, they were actually killing us. And so it wasn't a virtual thing at all. Part of me is really glad that they're not actually killing the people, but your brain doesn't know the difference.
No, there's so many negative things to it. What they'll do to fuck with you is
Oh, they
so
fuck with you on a regular basis.
oh,
And
it's very, they don't physically hurt you, they mentally fucking break you. And what they do is, I remember this one off-road training program where they were testing the new virtual reality on super soldiers and seeing if they can tell the difference between reality and their virtual reality. And what they did to this one super soldier is, so I went into the virtual reality, I was blown away how you could not tell the difference. And then they pulled me out. It's just like waking up out of the matrix. You come out of this pod, and then you see another super soldier in the pod, but you can see what he's viewing, like on a screen. And they tricked him. They made a program where they made him think that he came out of the pod and he's back in reality, but he's still in the virtual reality. And then the scientists are marking it down, and I was so scared because I overheard them talking in German about how, like, this is a good prison system, how they can throw souls in. They can throw souls in this virtuality prison and they'll never tell the difference, and they can just keep them there forever. And I was that was probably the most scariest thing I ever felt in my life, like worse than fighting vampires or wars or draconians or whatever it is. That is pure hell.
That is exactly how I felt when Oberkommando said that they would come get me and that they would take me to Mars and they would keep me for until they couldn't regenerate me anymore. That was exactly how I felt about that. For me, the service in space is so horrible compared to my personal ethical system. That's the biggest problem that I have reintegrating these alters, is I have to deal with what they have done. I have destroyed entire worlds, completely blown them up on an ongoing and regular basis. And if you consider those beings to be people, then they're not all slaves. Some of them
that's my Draco side coming out.
Some of them were people trying to overcome their Draco slavery. The only thing they did wrong was say no more and not be able to stop us. That's the only thing they did wrong. And the part of me that wants humanity to be free is looking at that and empathizing with their plight, and yet knowing I was the one who killed them.
Yeah, I have some memories. So if there's a rebellion on other slave worlds, they will send us in, or it's a small team. They'll give us laser swords, like lightsabers, minor red sabers, and we'll be dropped on a field from a teardrop ship, and we'll just be running like cheetahs at this village or this city of millions or thousands of humans, and we'll just be cutting them in half, like just leveling them. Like, you can kill 100 humans in 5 minutes. That's how fast you're going in there, killing them all, and till they submit and go on their knees. And I'm not proud of it, but like, in the time it's happening, you remember they don't give you emotion, so you have no empathy, no fear, you don't question orders.
I was Schwarze, so I was shot up with black goo. Well, not shot up, I drank the black goo. So I had no emotions other than anger. And so I was going into this situation, I was following orders. You know, that's the logical thing you do whenever you don't have emotions.
Yeah, Igor off planet, my super soldier buddy, his name's Igor. He's a Russian super soldier. And he looked at me when so what they do is they mix super soldiers in with normal soldiers, just like the game Halo. And we're running.
I've not played that.
So Halo is about normal soldiers, and then there's the super soldiers. So there's maybe 10 super soldiers per 100 like normal human soldiers, and we're running, and Igor looks at me, and because I'm trying to ask him a question, like, oh, who are we killing today? And he's just like, Igor, good soldiers don't ask questions. And then he runs, but he's speaking Russian, and I understand him. I don't even speak Russian because he's talking to me in my head. And we're going, and we're liberating. So I've been part of liberation. I've been part of rescuing VIPs on zombie attack worlds where you got to go down there and rescue the VIPs, and you're seeing humans turn into zombies and eating each other. I've been part of rescuing and liberating humans from vampire factories, where on December 2nd, where the story I never finished in the beginning was, we come onto this world. It's a vampire controlled world. The humans are in massive warehouses, and there's 5 humans per plastic bag, and it's like air sucked out, and there's little tubes coming, so like they're draining them of blood, and they're also being fed so their body keeps producing blood. And what our mission was to blow these buildings up and starve the vampires. And we completely leveled all these farm factories to get rid of the vampire food source, but we didn't save the humans. We just killed them because they've been in stasis. We call them blood sacks for so long. So we destroyed it, their compound, and my super soldier died, and I got transferred into another super soldier, and then we left that planet, got debriefed, and I got thrown back in this body, and now we're here 15 days later.
Yeah, I found that the switching back and forth between alters with black goo and myself is hard for me.
Can I take a pee break? It's been an hour.
Sure.
Okay.
Katie, we have break music.
And Odin is here.
Odin, we need break music.
10 minutes?
It comes to about 5. We can do 10 if you want.
Okay, 5-10 minutes is good. I'll be back.
Thank you, Odin.
No problem. Whenever it starts. Okay. I thought it started. What in the world? What did Katie do?
I don't know.
Okay.
The truth is waiting there for you to find it. It's not a blight, but a remedy. A clear reminder of how it began. Deep inside your memory, turn away as you struggle to find it. You heard it call as you walked away. A voice of calm from within the silence, and for what seemed an eternity, you ain't in nothing, it would call out again. In the shadow beckoning, then your fears seem to keep you blinded, and you're gone as you walked away. When you think of this forsaken, listen to me now. You need never feel broken again. Sometimes darkness can show you the light. In unforgivable tragedy, the answer isn't where you think you'd find it. Prepare yourself for a reckoning, for when your world seems to crumble again. Don't turn away. You're the one who can read and find it. Don't let hope become a memory. Let the shadow permeate your mind and reveal the thoughts that were tucked away, so that the door can be opened again. Within your darkest memories lies the answer if you dare to find it. Don't let hope become a memory. When you think of this forsaken, listen to me now. You need never feel broken again. Sometimes darkness can show you the light. We come ding dong, and another song, the pariah consume your soul. You need strengthening, demanding. It takes a minute off to rekindle the fire burning in the air. You can light the fire within the air. When you think of this forsaken, listen to me now. You need never feel broken again. Sometimes darkness can show you the light. Don't ignore, listen to me now. You need never feel broken again. Sometimes darkness can show you the light. world is strengthening. Get me in light and yeah. This is the way I pray. Heaven is dancing hard enough. Burn me alive inside. Living my life's not hard enough. Take everything away. Ah! Reach out to me, reach out to me, reach out to me, talk to me, leave me no one. Talk to me, reach out to me, reach out to me, talk to me. Reach out to me, reach out to me, reach out to me, talk to me, leave me no one. Talk to me, reach out to me, return to me, you made me turn away. Living is dancing hard enough. Burn me alive inside. Living my life's not hard enough. They take everything from you. Living just isn't hard enough. Burn me alive inside. Living my life's not hard enough. Take everything away.
And welcome back to what is the name of this show? Nacht Waffen Pilot with Penny Bradley.
Thank you, Odin. You know how much I love Disturbed.
We all were disturbed.
all of all the bands out there, Disturbed gives the most hope to people who have been deeply damaged. And we have to honor that. Thank you so much. And I understand we have permission to use those songs now. Yay!
Oh, yeah, girl. You know something? Which is kind of funny because I could have written an email to him like months ago. And I decided I was going to do it at around, I was going to make the announcement. Yeah, we got some special artists that we can now perform and play on their, to play their music. But I decided to let you be the first.
Thank you. I'm honored. This is like so cool because anytime we've needed a break, we have played Disturbed because their music is so appropriate to the topic. Thank you, Odin.
It's almost like Christmas present for you. All right, get back to the show, Penny. I know you about to jump out your seat like, yes, I want to hug you.
I do want to hug you. You see this little lovely that I'm wearing? This is my early Christmas present from my partner Lou, and it's the symbol of my family. So
we love Lou.
We do. He actually came on Eric's show Tuesday. I couldn't believe that. First time he's ever been public at all. Okay.
I think, man, now, he held out for the whole hours with Eric. He the man.
Oh, you should have seen him in Alaska. Anyway, Hendricks is back. And that's who this show is supposed to be about. Oh, Hendricks, this is Odin.
Nice to meet you.
Odin and Katie are the owner producers of the radio network. And sorry, we don't schedule breaks unless somebody asks for one. Sorry about that. So
it's all good. Where do we continue?
Yeah, we were discussing the vampires.
Well, vampires are just one of the many races that farm humans. You can go back to the TV show called Stargate SG-1, which has
Mhm,
so much full disclosure, and
mhm.
that is a basis of aliens coming here so long ago, kidnapping humans from Earth and taking them to other worlds and making them slaves all over the galaxy for thousands and hundreds and thousands of years. And they don't talk about the genetic modification because Stargate's based on Stargate technology. That
Yeah.
is massive full disclosure. And those aliens that are represented in that TV show are known as the Goa'uld, which are also a metaphor for the reptilians and draconians.
Well, I knew that
Um,
I didn't remember a symbiont race out there.
there
So,
isn't. It's just a representation, a metaphor. Like they have the giant snake heads on the helmets. That's a
mhm,
reptilian uh, symbol. So
okay. Yeah, I didn't remember any symbionts out there, and yet Star Trek had
sorry,
had
there is a
symbi
symbiote you're not thinking of. They're called Dark Archons. That is a real thing. The Dark
um,
Archons attack
but
humans all the time, and they can be
they're on Earth. They're not out.
no, yeah, they're on Earth. They constantly what a Dark Archon does, because I would love to protect humans from these fucking vicious little beings. But they cannot physically hurt you. They can only hurt you in a negative way where they can make you super negative so it ruins your day or you do something stupid. So what they do is they will if you are a negative person or have a negative surround environment, they will leech onto you, onto your energy aura. And what they'll do is when you go to bed, they go into your mind and they make you have a very negative experience. What they'll do is they'll make it so realistic where they'll make you watch your girlfriend being raped or something or having sex with another dude, and you wake up and it's so real and you're so angry inside that you go and do something stupid and it ruins your day and you go to jail or something. And but then you emit so much more negative energy. And it's like a cocaine high for them. And those beings are everywhere on
Mhm.
surface Earth currently. They love to attack me. They attack you. They love to attack you in relationships. They will really destroy a good relationship by making you guys super negative towards each other by giving you false memories or false visions.
Well, I've had too many folks decide that I was either demon or archon infested, so I tend to avoid those topics. I have had lots of stuff removed from me. I had 104 exorcisms while I was still Christian, and I've had 6 or 7 archon removals since leaving Christianity. So yeah, I've been through all of that.
Yeah. I need to
I,
also
I
tell humans
I know
how to
how
get rid
to
of it.
remove archons, but
Hmm.
as long as you're doing the same behaviors, you're still going to get them back.
Yeah. So let me quickly say the best way to get rid of these negative beings is you have when you come out of a negative dream state, and you have to be aware that your relationship is good, everything is fine. These beings went into your mind altered you when you're sleeping to think this way. And the best way
Mhm.
to beat them is to wake up and be like, be aware of it. Be like, they went into my mind, they did this to me. That's not real. They're not real. They have no power over me. And they actually just disappear because they can't trick you anymore. And the other way of beating them is you're in your dream state. You can see them and call them out. And then
Mhm.
what I do is I throw them into a mirror and I wipe my hand over it. The whole mirror goes glazed over, and I tell them only your light side can come through. So that means they can't even come back into our reality. They're stuck behind this mirror in another dimension, and they're like freaking out trying to break it. They're like in prison. I'm like, you should never mess with the Draco, bud. I know who you are and I know what you are, and you have destroyed so many of my relationships in the past because I was not aware of what you are. And now I'm
Well,
totally aware because they like to attack my relationship I'm currently in to get me into a negative state. But now I wake up with a smile on my face and I just smile back at them. And they're starting not bugs me as much because I'm aware of what they're doing to me.
well, when I have one of those dreams, I tell Lou about it when I first get up, and then he knows why I'm in the mood, and it's like, okay, we'll just deal with it. And
You're in the mood. I love that. Because when I wake up and I come off mission where, like there's some really gruesome missions where you see a lot of bad
yeah,
things happen and you wake up with full memory. I wake up next to my Earth girlfriend and I'm so angry inside. I literally
uh-huh,
tell her, don't talk to me for an hour or
yeah,
I just leave because I need to
yeah.
go cool off and let the nanotechnology start blocking the memory so I don't remember what happened.
Well, when I come back from mission, I'm usually exhausted because it's been a while, and I'm usually injured because they have chosen to do my punishments on the way back from mission, and so I'm hurting and I'm exhausted and having to deal with the aftermath of what I remember of what we did. And some of the memories are okay, like just travel. But I have occasional, let's put it this way. The German regulations for their military were not designed with my kind of people in mind. And I'm in trouble all the frigging time just for being what I am. And so I come back and I'm usually angry. And I'm angry because the CIA decided to injure me somehow. Um, every injury that I've had from them has been on the way back from a mission. Well, they have me in their clutches. Why not? Um, they they broke my shoulder after one mission. They put me in a room with a raptor once, and I came out with a broken ankle. And I've had fingers broken, toes broken. I've come back with scars from injuries that they apparently half healed before they sent me back so that I would hurt to remind me not to do whatever it was I did. They're
Like
really,
light.
they're really not fond of me reintegrating alters.
Mm-hmm.
That was why they broke my shoulder. They said, we don't want you doing that again. And it's been a year and a half and I haven't because that hurt.
Yeah, see, that's like they torture me like way worse because I'm a draconian mentality. So like breaking my arm or anything, it's just like whatever, pussy. Like you can do worse than that. So what they do to me, like I call them a pussy, not calling you a pussy at all. And
Thank you.
what they do to, yeah, no, I was saying I call them a pussy like for breaking my arm. Like that's wow, what they do.
You're,
But what they do to
you're
me,
super soldier, and where I'm on the ship, inside the core of the ship, because I'm considered someone they have to protect, because if there's a telepath around, they can link up with me and have full access to the ship's computer.
yeah. So
So
what they do to me
I'm
to
like,
discipline.
yeah,
Yeah, so how they discipline me is they will two memories I have, really bad ones, where so we went off world and took our teardrop ships and super soldier bodies and we had to fight this invasion that was coming to Earth. And we were there for like fucking like I'm gonna say 10 years and like
mhm,
like only hours have passed on Earth. Like we
yeah,
were gone for so long. And I remember I disobeyed a direct order. What I did is I took a teardrop ship back to Earth to visit my friends and family here. They
yeah, that'll
stopped
get
me.
you in trouble.
Oh yeah, that's a massive no-no. Like you do
Mhm.
not take off-world technology onto surface. So I come here, I float over, I'm astral projecting to my parents and friends. They can't see me, I can see them though. And then all of a sudden, I just get sworn by, let's call them military, off-world military police. They
Yeah,
grab me, they reprimand me, they throw me into this giant glass like octagon looking thing on a space station. There's German officers all around it shaking their head like they're so mad at me. There's two other soldiers that disobeyed them. So they threw two more super soldiers in there. And what they do is they throw three blood vials in there. Each blood vial contains the vampire virus. They're like, okay, the last one to take this is going to be ripped apart by a vampire. So we all take it, we all drink it, we start morphing into vampires, and we start ripping each other apart, killing each other, blah blah blah. And then I remember I got ripped apart pretty bad, and they transferred my consciousness back into another super soldier body with full memory of being eaten alive by another vampire. And like that was my discipline. That was one discipline. Now the second discipline they like to do to me is they'll send me to the jungle planet. This is like very early on when I didn't listen to them, and they'll bring a child and a human mother. So it's a human mother and her child, and they will be in the jungle, and I will be their protector with no weapons. And what they'll do is they're like, okay, run, you have an hour to hide, and we're going to come hunt you and kill, and it's your job to protect the woman and child. They'll hunt us down, they surround us, they shoot the woman, the child in front of me, then they throw a grenade at my foot and I die. And then they restart the program with a new child and a new mother, and then they let us run through the forest. Time and time again, they kept capturing us, shooting us, killing us with grenades, killing the child in front of us, or torturing the kid in front of me, making me watch, and watching the woman cry, seeing her child being tortured, and then they kill me. And then the last time, I remembered that I have some powers because I'm a starseed. So I remember they're surrounding us, pointing machine guns at us, and all I did was I go on one knee and I project a energy shield around me and the kid and the woman, and they unload all their guns, and the energy shield blocks the bullets. And they're so blown away. Like all of the officers were so dumbfounded, like, how the hell did he do that? And then I start fighting them hand-to-hand combat, winning, but there's a lot of them, and they eventually overpower me and kill me, and then throw me back into this body with full memory and full emotional feeling of watching those kids and those moms die, and I couldn't save them. And that was a lesson, like to sparring up, or they're going to kill numerous kids and parents to teach me to obey.
Well, I have, those 60 and backs that I'm doing the whole armada. One of those I have a commanding officer from hell, and he keeps ordering things that are illegal under regulations for him to order me to do. And they are offensive, insulting things, sexual in nature. And
we could talk really dark about that if you want. How they torture kids.
Well, yeah, we could, but yeah.
But it is full disclosure. You have to be aware of it.
This is true. What I was going to share about was I eventually got fed up with this son of a bitch. And I have psi abilities that are made stronger by the black goo there. So I cannot do this on Earth. People should not be scared of me. I can only do it there. There are firewalls in place where I can't do this here. But I finally got so pissed at this man that I stared him down and visualized the center of his brain getting hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter until his head finally exploded. And then I went and got the pieces and took him to med bay to be put into regen. It was not my intention to kill him permanently. It was my intention to inform him that this was unacceptable behavior and that I could stop him. And when he recuperated, he did a court-martial as commander of the fleet. And he never reported the full truth to Oberkommando. And so he judged me guilty of murder. And I said, no.
They charge you guilty of murder when they kill millions a day.
Yeah, well, they charged me guilty of murder and insubordination and assault on a commanding officer. And I was probably guilty of assault on a commanding officer. And so I was spaced. And they had a rope around me because I was still the only navigator for the whole fleet. They couldn't kill me. So they sent me out, let me experience being spaced, dying from that. Brought me in, popped me into regen. So every time we see each other on this ship, and remember, we're on this ship for 60 years together. Every time we see each other on this ship, I remind him of exploding his head. So it turned into a really toxic relationship between the two of us.
Yeah, I had a we're going to talk a little bit about the child part of it because it's full disclosure, and full disclosure is knowing all aspects of what happens. So what they'll do is, so the super soldier thing is they can transfer your consciousness in between super soldiers, but what they can also do is they can make a clone version of your child self and transfer your consciousness into your child self. And what they did is I remember being at a party with a bunch of guys in business suits, and I was in a room, and I was chained, like tied down to the bed. I was naked, and I couldn't have been more than 5 or 6 years old. And the door opens, and you can see a huge party in the other room, and then all these suit guys walk in, and they all stand around me, and you can overhear them talking. And they're like, "Oh, so is this the kid we're gonna rape?" Then they start raping me, and I'm sitting there, like, I'm not weirded out. I'm like, 'cause I know that this is just a body experience. Like, my consciousness, this is not real. This is just me in another body. And then I'm looking at them with disgust, like, you guys are sick fucks. Like, you all deserve to be shot and killed. And then I transfer my consciousness. It's like jumping. I jumped my consciousness out of there back into this body, and they're mad that I did that again because I have that ability. Because it's hard to control a 6-dimensional consciousness. So they do that on a daily basis to torture kids, and that's a real thing. So
That is a real thing. When I was 4, and I was initially kidnapped and taken to Langley. Langley had a regen tank. That's important information because everything they did to me, they let me die. And then they put me in the regen tank and brought me back. One of the things I was supposed to learn from that was that death was not an option. That no matter what they told me to do, that I had to do it because even dying would not get me out of it. That I might as well obey the first time. And so the first thing they started with was drowning, and then rape, and then sodomy. And then they got the bright idea to nail me inside the wall and let me suffocate.
I've had that happen to me. I had that happen to me when they first kidnapped me. They would nail us into walls, drywall it, and then we'd have to escape somehow and climb through the air ducts of the house and stuff like that.
I had nightmares of crawling through the walls for decades before my memories were restored. So when the memory of what happened at Langley was restored, the nightmares I'd had for decades finally made sense. But what these folks do is they clear your memory, but they don't clear your subconscious. So the memory comes bubbling back up. And you have to deal with it at some point, but you have to know what the actual memory was before you can clear it. Once I remembered being nailed inside the wall repeatedly and left to suffocate, and there not being a way to crawl anywhere because the hole was just bigger than I was. Once I remembered this, the nightmare made sense, went away. So I haven't been able to forgive these people. So once I was in alter programming, at that point they shoot you. At that point they electrocute you. If you don't perform to standards, you're electrocuted or drowned. And it's a whole different set of tortures. But yeah, it's a lot of stuff. I remember being locked inside a vault with other children, and we were left to suffocate. And it was, they didn't care, well, because they had a regen tank. They could bring us back.
Yeah, the way they torture us off world, I've heard so many stories from so many super soldiers of, like 3 kids in a room. The officers would starve them and be like, "You have to kill your friend to eat," and yeah, it was just the way they break you mentally. But me, I have to give you the other side of why they do it. So yes, it's crazy, it's fucked up, it's stupid, it's crazy, it's brutal. But the reason why they do it is because now I'm an officer, I train new recruits. Is they have to break you so bad that when you are in your off-world missions, nothing will break you, because the mental psyche of a normal Earth soldier cannot handle the psyche of off-world missions. The off-world missions, other aliens are so brutal, so crazy, so mean in the way of killing you, that if the officers break you before you go off world, nothing will break you, and you can complete your mission and return safely. Plus, they let you return back to this body and live a normal life with no memory. So I
Well,
don't see why it's that bad, because without that programming, you're not going to make it.
well, I've had folks from I hate to use their real name because it's private, but they're from a secret society. And they have told me that this is the way that they train their own kids, that it's the only way to activate psi abilities.
Yeah, and it's also an ability, because they take starseed children mostly for off-world missions, and they break them this way because we have what they call X-Men abilities. We all do. So they break us so bad to the point to see what abilities you have. Just like when we do the jungle training in special forces for new recruits off-world, we take kids that are 10 years old. They're all starseed children, diamond children, crystal children, whatever you want to call them, and we throw them into this planet, and there's a Stargate, and what we do is we tell them the mission is to get to the Stargate without being killed, figure out how to use it on your own, and get back to German Space Command. And if you do that, you graduate into becoming a special forces super soldier for the German groups. And it's like a very big honor. It's like, and so there's 50 kids thrown onto this planet. I'm there as a kid avatar, as an instructor. Also, is my job I have to get through the mission too and get through Stargate and go home. So we're being hunted down by aliens, reptilians. We're being burned alive, shot, blown up, and it's to force us to see our abilities. My ability was I could make a force shield around me and nothing could penetrate it, like an energy field. It just repelled anything. And then other kids could run really fast. They could teleport. They could shoot out rays out of their hands and kill other people. And they didn't even know they had these abilities until they were forced to do it this way. And only 4 kids made it through the Stargate and home, and the rest died or were killed in battle. And I was the 5th one that made it through. So I was still slower than these new recruits. These new recruits were faster than me because I'm also, an old soul. I'm getting to the point in my retirement because I've been doing this for so long. And I remember I was so badly damaged that I was all bandaged up, laying in this hospital, and the German officers come up to me and they're all surrounding me and they're speaking German. And I don't speak German in this body, but I can understand what they're saying. And they're making fun of me. They're like, "Oh, how does an instructor get beaten by new recruits? You're really slow. Your time's slow. You should have got here faster. Now you're going to be punished for it." And they take my hand out, and it's in a cast. And they start breaking it with a metal rod, breaking my bones in my arm, and I'm screaming in pain. And then I'm sitting there, and I'm saying to them, "No more, no more! Please, I'm in so much pain." And then also they dehydrated me, so I haven't had water in weeks. I'm so thirsty, that just thirst you want. So I walk out into the hallway because I see a water fountain. I'm drinking some water, disobeying them, and then there's the German officer hallway patrol comes in. He's like, "You're not supposed to be here. You're supposed to be in the hospital." And he starts beating me with a baton and breaking me up, and then he throws me back in the hospital bed. I'm laying there and I'm like, I need to get out of this body. So I throw myself back into this body, waking up with full memory of everything that happened.
Some of the officers are sadists. It's not even the majority of them, but some of them are sadists. Some of them are hella nice guys. But the ones that are sadists, oh my God, they can do such harm.
They have no, the German group, they have no emotion. That's what I'm going to say about them. They really like my altars because my altars are so cruel and so brutal, more brutal than they are. And they actually are in awe of how bad my altar will, when they throw my altar into a war zone, how brutal he is. So when I communicate with them, we have an understanding that brutality is the way, emotion is not a thing. Like there's no such thing as emotion or love.
Well, when I'm out there, I'm a lieutenant, sometimes a second lieutenant. I've made it high as commander only to be demoted again. To be a navigator, I have to be a lieutenant at least. So they shave tail is the lowest that they can drop me and me still do my job. And they keep me there most of the time because I get tired of their shit. And there comes a point where my starseed self will no longer tolerate the dishonor. And I fight back. And I basically do my job, ignore their shit until it reaches a certain point, and then I blast them. And I'm not kind about it. I'm not subtle about it. They get the point, and they either back off or they get a second dose, or third or fourth or fifth, because I'm not going to tolerate being treated like shit. And
yeah, and if I could elaborate there, because it's the same thing. When they really treat me like shit, how I get them to back off is I will just make myself not active duty anymore. I'm not doing anything for you anymore. Yeah, like it's my free will choice to not help you anymore and serve in your groups. And I'm so good at what I do off world that they eventually turn down the dial of abusing me, and we will come to an understanding where I will do my mission work without question. But when I'm here on surface Earth, I don't want to be bugged. I don't want my way of life here being disrupted. I don't want you guys fucking with my money, my income down here, nothing. And I will do whatever you want off world. So now we kind of have more of an understanding now. Oh, they do. Like if you don't listen off world, they will fuck with you down here, where you'll be arrested all the time for no reason. You will have just the worst luck. You will lose a bunch of money. You'll get super sick. You'll have body problems, and you know it's them up there, right? So
I ended up with the body problems. Every time I turned around, there was something else happening, and it started in 1982. I don't know what I did up there in 1982, but here I was working in a biology laboratory, and I caught a virus in the lab, and I have been sick ever since. So 1982 is 18 years after my initial abduction. So it's close enough to the 20 years after your first abduction is when you get sick. That's the rule of thumb I found from counseling people. So you were what, 14 when they initially took you?
Oh, 6.
6. So you went longer. Congratulations.
Oh yeah, my entire childhood I had memories of war, and I was always talking to my grandma. Would always watch the History Channel, watch World War I and World War II, because I fought in both World War I and World War II with the time travel technology, and I can go on for days about all that, but it's irrelevant. And yeah, I've been around for a while. I rejoined.
It's not irrelevant because I talk about that the Germans in space have time travel technology, and that they have gone back 400 years to pick up warriors to bring to their colonies. And people,
and I can elaborate on that too.
People look at me like, you're nuts. And that's the one thing that my listeners are having the most freak out about is they could not possibly have gone back 400 years. So you
It's
also
not just
have,
400 years.
no,
Yeah,
it's not.
they've gone back thousands of years, thousands of years. I have memories where I was sent back in time to the Babylonian times where the Romans and the Babylonians were fighting each other. And my mission directive was to get blood samples of these warriors because they wanted me to take this blood sample, bring it back to present time so they can clone these soldiers and make even stronger soldiers because our blood has been so diluted over thousands of years
Mhm.
of having sex with each other. So I go back in time, they dress me, I look like a Babylonian soldier. I got fur all over me, I got a metal helmet, a sword in my hand. The battle's over. I'm digging up, they're burying their dead, and I'm going in there and I have to find these certain blood types, and I'm digging up these bodies that are rotting. And I remember
Which
picking up
blood
this human
types?
skull. I don't know, but I remember I had to pick up a certain body, um, and I pick up this skull, and the brains are still
Yeah.
decomposing, and the brains are falling down my hand. And I could smell the brain and the dead flesh in my nose hairs. And like, and I take the blood sample out of him, and I go grab a few more blood samples, and I go back, and a portal opens up, and I jump through it, and I'm back in present time. I give them the blood samples, then they throw me back in this body, and I wake up back in this body with still the smell of brains and dead flesh
Yeah.
in my nose. I'm just like,
Once
oh, I
once
couldn't
you
eat
get the
breakfast or nothing.
smell in your in your nose, it's like even when they
Yeah,
bring you
it
back.
transferred to this body, and you have to understand, even though your consciousness is in a new body, you are still subconsciously connected to this body. So
Yeah.
this body can shake and nosebleeds if you get killed. I remember my ex was sleeping next to me. I'd always shake when I got killed, and I'd have nosebleeds, and I'd get thrown back in my body, and the whole bed would bounce like I got thrown into
Yeah.
my bed. Yeah, and
Yeah. I wake up blue regularly. Um, we're getting towards the time where you need to do your shameless plug.
what's that?
That's where you talk about what you do, your YouTube and any services you
Oh,
offer.
yeah. Okay, so I have a YouTube channel where I interview star seeds all over the world about their past lives, their mission, where they came from, what star system, and also their venting, how they vent about the human race, how what their thought process is on it. It's called Star Seed Talk on YouTube. Just look it up and hit subscribe. I have about 40 videos on there from people all over the world. I even have a 10-year-old girl on there that I interview, and she's from the elf realms. She remembers her entire past life, how the reptilians invaded her home planet, and they sent the elves here in a portal. And what they do is, she had the same memory as me. So before you incarnate on Earth, you have to remember this is a virtual reality, a biological computer. So a portal opens up, your soul goes through it, and before you come to this dimension, there's a guy standing there with two large computer screens, and he's standing there in human form, and he's flicking you through the screen like this. Every time he flicks through a lifetime, it's downloaded in your mind, and you see from start to finish of what's going to happen to you, like within seconds. And you pick what lifetime you want to incarnate in, and you pick that one. Then another portal opens up, like a rainbow portal. You go through it, and then you portal through a human mother that's giving birth, and then you're incarnated into a new body, and then you start your incarnation again. She had the exact same memory of me when she died in the elf realm, and the reptilians portaled her soul to this dimension, and she portaled through her earth mom here, and now she has her full memories at age 10 of what happened in her past life. So it's a very good read. Look it up, Starseed Talk on YouTube.
So you're not offering services yet?
My services are leading by example. You can look me up on Instagram, the Rogue Draco, and I just, all my teachings are on their YouTube channel or these radio shows. I can't spend teachings or helping people 24/7. I'll go crazy. So I'm leading by example now.
Yeah, I know that feeling. After my shoulder got broke, I had to cut way back on the
Yeah,
counseling services.
it's if humans are listening to this, what it is that drains us is humans have so much ego, so much negativity, and so much pre-programming that it's very hard for us to teach, because everything we teach you, your programming kicks in and says that we're lying. We're not lying. You just have been brainwashed since elementary school, high school, and TV has brainwashed you without even knowing it. So, and if you could shed your ego, maybe it'd be a little easier to teach you and want to help you. And I wish you guys would just let us help you, because we left our families to come here and live on Earth, and Earth is hell. There's no such thing as heaven or hell, but Earth is hell in the universe. There's nothing worse than this place. This is the worst place, but it can be the most beautiful place if we got it back to ancient time standards.
Well, I want to thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
And we rambled around a lot, but I think we covered a lot of territory. And I'm glad you asked me to come on the show.
Yeah.
We have a show on the network after us. It's Ramona Speaks the Other Truth, and she will be on at the top of the hour. So.
Okay. Thanks for having me on, Penny. It was nice to talk to you again.
Yeah, it was.
And everyone that's listening, don't take the vaccine shots. Do your fucking homework before you take it, please. Don't kill yourself over something that has a 99.6% survival rate.
Exactly.